I'm going to answer all your questions at the end. So if you think of something, write it down, and at the end I'll do a live Q&A as well, okay? So I have multiple children and multiple dogs in the house. So if some madness happens in advance, I apologize, but we'll see if we can get through all of this in our time together. First though, before we kick off, I have a little quiz for you. So I'd like you to get your pens and paper ready or your mobile phones ready to answer some questions. I'm going to put 10 questions on screen, and it's going to give you all the answers are yes or no. And you get 1 point for every yes and no points for a no. So you'll end up with a score out of 10. And we're going to see how you're faring at the moment from a LinkedIn perspective. So first question, do you know what your LinkedIn social selling index is? 1 point for yes, or type in yes, or not. I don't want you to use the chat, just write it down for yourselves. Would you become a customer of you today based on your current LinkedIn profile? Yes or no? Do you proactively add at least 10 people per day into your network who are in your target market? Have you got a full sales pipeline with lots of people wanting to do business with you? Yes or no? Have you got more than 1,000 connections on LinkedIn? Yes or no? Do you currently get more than 3 leads a week from LinkedIn? Have you ever written a LinkedIn article? Yes or no? Do you ever use voice notes or video messages instead of just texting people to build relationships? Do you post original content, like you've created the post, not just sharing someone else's? Do you post original content consistently at least 3 times a week on LinkedIn? And the final question, have you made more than £10,000 from LinkedIn lead generation? Yes or no? So I want you to go through the questions, count up how many yeses, and there's 1 point for every yes. And if you feel brave enough, I want you to share your score in the chat box for me. So you'll have a score out of 10. Let's have a look at what we've got here. 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, 0, 2, 4, 1s, lots of 1.5. Dorothy, 1.5. I'll ask you later what the half was. 0, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good. So majority of you at the minute are sitting less than 5 out of those questions. My goal is that you get to 10 out of 10 on all of those things there. So I'm going to start that process through this presentation today. And I'm sure after today, some of you will want to learn more about how you can become a 10 out of 10 on all of those questions. So just to start off, a little of an introduction from me. I'm Sam Rathling, and I've been networking since I was 5 years old. My dad was a bank manager, and he used to work for NatWest, and he was really good at his job. So every time he got promoted or got asked to go and work in a different branch, we upped sticks, moved house, and went to yet another place in the UK that I didn't know anyone. And from the age of 5 to 16, I went to 6 different schools. So it was quite challenging as a child growing up, but now I look back on it and I think actually all that skills that I learned on building relationships and turning strangers into friends has probably been the thing that's helped me the most in business, because relationship building is such a key skill. And if you can learn how to do that online as well as offline and be able to do that within the LinkedIn environment, then you're going to be winning big on LinkedIn pretty quickly. I've just been doing it for a very long time. I won't share my age. I've lived in lots of different countries, hence the strange accent. I'm currently living in Derby in the Midlands, but I started out my career in marketing in London, and then I met my ex-husband, I should say, and in Holland, which is where he's from, I fell into the recruitment industry. I couldn't do any of the sales and marketing jobs that I loved, and recruitment was my world because I could speak English, I didn't need to learn the language, and I could still work in that country. So LinkedIn was born in 2003, and I found LinkedIn when I was living in the Netherlands. And I was, back then I was a recruiter, so it was very much in the early days. It was like a CV platform. It was where you went to find a new job. And over the last number of years, since Microsoft acquired LinkedIn for $26.2 billion, Microsoft bought LinkedIn, and it's become very much a place for B2B professionals to meet and connect with each other. And it's become a lot more social and a lot more focused on content. So it's definitely had a journey as a platform, but it is the oldest social media platform out there. It's even older than Facebook, can you believe it? So LinkedIn is 17 years old. And I've been using it since its very inception. So I've been a user of LinkedIn. I was a very early adopter of LinkedIn. I was probably one of the first 100,000 people to ever have a LinkedIn profile. But I moved to Ireland in 2005. Again, new country, knew nobody, had to turn lots of strangers into friends. And I used LinkedIn at that point because I started a business to actually start generating leads. The other countries on that screen are Poland, Scotland, and I've talked about the other ones. So that's kind of how I ended up learning LinkedIn. People started to get to know I was pretty good at it, and I got asked to speak at this conference in 2010 about how I had grown my recruitment business through LinkedIn, lead generation, and also networking and relationship building. I absolutely loved it. This was my first ever keynote, standing ovation, and it was just unbelievable. I knew it was something I wanted to do. It was a very part-time thing for me in the beginning. And in 2016, I moved back to the UK, and we weren't in the best of financial situations. That is literally the desk and chair on the left-hand side there that I set up my expert business in. And we couldn't even afford to get the furniture out of storage in 2016. So me and the kids and my husband spent 6 weeks living in this house with zero furniture, apart from this little desk I bought in B&M. And now I've built my expert business to have become now the most successful LinkedIn expert in Europe. And we have a multi six-figure business now. My business partner, who might be dropping in on the Zoom at some point, Nicholas Jones, has a £1 billion backed business, and he's my business partner. So we are together taking on the world from a LinkedIn perspective. But that's literally where I started my little business from. I've spoken all over the UK. I literally got my brand out there big time. And now I get to speak on big stages all over the world, including Italy. So I went to Italy in 2018. But the point of this slide is that you never know who's watching you on LinkedIn. Sometimes you'll put content out there and you'll be like, oh, I didn't get any views, or I got 50 views or 100 views or whatever. And you get a bit despondent that you don't necessarily get the right engagement on a piece of content. But the point here is that a lot of people are on LinkedIn and they're just lurking in the background. They're not really actively participating. They're not interacting with the newsfeed, but they are watching. And I had this lady message me on LinkedIn called Valentina. And she said, Sam, I've been following you for 4 years. I love what you're doing. I follow all your content. We want you to come to Milan and speak at our event. We're going to pay you to come. We're going to give you an all expenses trip at the Marketing Business Summit. And I was like, Valentino, I've never even heard of this woman. And it turns out she's never liked or commented on any of my posts. She's just been in the background watching me build my credibility, watching me position myself as someone to go to for this topic. And that will happen for you as well. There'll be people in your network that you don't even know are there, who are every day that you're putting out content, watching you, getting to know more about you, getting to like you, getting to trust you. And when they're ready to come forward, they'll come forward, and that's where your inbound leads will come from. But most people on LinkedIn are not interacting with the newsfeed. They're not actively liking, commenting. So don't be despondent if your content at the moment isn't hitting the mark or isn't getting the kind of visibility that you want. Keep at it and keep consistent, and I'll help you with content ideas later on in the session. So as Amy said, I teach 8 social selling strategies. So this is a slide you'll probably want to take a picture of or a screenshot of. It's almost like having 8 pieces of the puzzle. So yes, you could have a really good LinkedIn profile, but if you're not posting any content consistently, then no one's going to see that profile. You could be posting amazing content, but if you're not prospecting and adding people into your network who are in your target market, then what's the point in posting it, because no one in your target market's going to see it. So there's lots of different things that contribute to you getting success from LinkedIn, but you've got to understand all the pieces of the puzzle. Now, we've only got a short time together today, so I'm not going to be able to get through every single one of these, but I'll give you as much value as I can in the time that we've got. So first off, if we aren't already connected on LinkedIn, please grab your cameras and grab your phones. And all you'll need to do is point your camera at the screen and hover it over my QR code on my slide deck here. and hit the connect button. It would be great if you could also pop a message once you've sent the invitation, or with the invitation, to basically say we met through Property Sisters, because I get a lot of inbound connection requests, and I'd like to know that you came from this particular session. I will get back to everybody personally. It does take a while because my inbox is pretty busy. I think I've got about 500 outstanding outstanding messages to get through in the next week. So it's, so connect with me on LinkedIn, message me, send me a message, and then we'll be connected. And if you've got any questions or anything comes up after today, then obviously we're connected, and I can help you in that way. So as Amy mentioned, my big goal is to generate £1 billion in sales. So please do me a favor. If you land some business from LinkedIn off the back of something that I've shared with you, it would be amazing if you could let me know that that has happened for you, because I'm on this huge mission by 2025 to generate £1 billion. And I want you, yes, you, to be a part of my £1 billion total. Who would like to be a part of my £1 billion goal? Type yes in the comments if you would like a piece of the action. Because obviously if you are going to do LinkedIn well, we want to turn that into real business results. Okay. 93.7 million is the current total, and that's an 18-month span of collection of data. So whether somebody has read my book, whether somebody has outsourced their lead generation to my team, this is my amazing LinkedIn team, LinkedIn bound team. And these guys are prospecting on behalf of our clients. So they're actively sending messages to people in my clients' target markets, and they're creating leads for them. So for people that are way too busy to do this for themselves, we have that operation, and they're based out of Derby. They're all working from home at the minute, bless them, many of them with children running around the place. So thank you publicly to my team, because they're doing an amazing, amazing job. Sometimes people learn from my LinkedIn or Linked Out Academy, which is my online course. And sometimes people come to my 3-day masterclass. I've got another one next week, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the people that come to that, usually within about 90 days, are absolutely smashing their results on LinkedIn, because I give a 15-minute-a-day system. And in about 90 days, people can go from not really getting any business on LinkedIn to actually turning LinkedIn into real business opportunities. I do a lot of corporate training. Corporates pay me quite a lot of money to go in. So my current day rate for a masterclass to go in and deliver what I deliver as a masterclass for the public is currently £25,000 for me to go in to just do a small group session. But quite often corporates book me for 5, 6, 7, 8 different masterclasses for across their organization. So multi 6-figure contracts with corporates. So that's how I help people. How do I help you? Right. First thing is you need to understand this equation. And that is how to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. So the V in this equation stands for visibility. So the V is for visibility. Visibility plus credibility. So the C stands for credibility equals opportunity. So visibility plus credibility equals opportunity. Okay. So you've got to be visible. That's about having a profile, having the right keywords, showing up, being consistent, doing engagement, posting content, etc., etc. Credibility is all about what you do to position yourself as the go-to person. It's the social proof that you provide by demonstrating that you're an expert at what you do. So if you're looking to attract investors, or if you're looking to create joint ventures, or if you're looking to build partnerships, you need to have both visibility and credibility in order to drive the opportunities that you really want. One of my favorite things to teach people is that you need to go to LinkedIn to give, not to get. And that's the mistake that most people make. They go there because they want to get clients, they want to get new leads, they want to get new relationships. But actually, if you go to LinkedIn with a different mindset, which is to give, to add value, to build relationships, to offer help and advice, if you go there with a giving mindset, you're going to be in a much better position to make LinkedIn work for you versus going there to get. Huge difference, ladies, between, sorry, there's guys here too. There's a huge difference between being on LinkedIn and actually effectively using LinkedIn. So I'm going to hopefully help you see the difference. For all of you that scored 1s, 2s, 3s at the start of the presentation, you guys are probably just on it at the minute. You've got a profile, don't really do anything with it, not really sure about this thing called LinkedIn, which is a bit stuffy and a bit different to Facebook. So you need to really understand how to effectively use it. And there's a huge difference between those two things. Few stats for you. Currently 675 million members on LinkedIn. 27.8 million of those are in the UK. It's a huge percentage of the professional population, 40% of which are active daily. So I just want you to wrap your head around the fact that there are a huge amount of people that are on LinkedIn on a daily basis, and many of them are in your target market. The staggering fact that I find, though, is that only 3.5 million of them, and I'm talking about not just the UK, the whole of the LinkedIn world, only 3.5 million people post content consistently. Like, what? So if you suddenly go from not sharing anything and not doing any content on LinkedIn to actually posting consistently, you put yourself in a very small minority. And there are over 9 billion content impressions every week on LinkedIn, and they're shared just by 3.5 million people, by the way. So the minute that you go from, oh, I'm kind of just on it and I have a profile and I don't really know what I'm doing with it, to actually properly using it, you know, and then build your network with the right type of people, it's a huge shift in your activity. So I'm going to give you 5 things you need to do right now to generate inbound leads from LinkedIn. There's 2 types of leads. So you get one type of lead by putting out great content, positioning yourself as an expert, and people come to you, right? So that's one type of lead. The other type of lead is where you generate that lead yourself proactively by finding someone in your target market and then reaching out to them in a non-salesy way to start a relationship and start a conversation. So I want you to think about leads as conversations, really, rather than leads. So if you can start a conversation and build a relationship with someone in your target market, that can turn into a business opportunity. So there are 2 ways that you can generate leads. Both of them can be created by you. So the problem is, though, most people on LinkedIn kind of do it the wrong way. So how many of you, type in the comments, yes, if you have ever been on LinkedIn, someone's connected with you, and boom, seconds later, there's a sales pitch landed in your inbox. Type yes in the chat box if that's ever happened to you. Look at all the numbers. Yes, 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 yes. Happens on a day-to-day basis. These people are what I describe as the cheaters or the hunters on LinkedIn. These are the people that go to LinkedIn to get, to sell, to pitch, and to spam everybody that they're connected to. That's what they do. Clearly, this is not the right way to do LinkedIn. What I prefer you to be is a spider in a web, where you are the center, you're the center of your circle of influence. You build this network around you of people who are in your exact target market, and you put out amazing content and position yourself as the go-to person so that you attract those prospects towards you through inbound leads. So that's the difference. The left-hand side is push, the right-hand side is pull. So you're trying to pull people towards you and attract them like a magnet. So the first tip of my 5 tips is to stop selling and start doing something called social selling. So social selling, what on earth is this thing called social selling? Well, I call it the art of selling without selling. So social selling is the art of selling without selling. So it's selling, but in a very subtle way, through building your credibility, through building know, like, and trust. It's all about using social media, not just LinkedIn, to connect with and understand and nurture potential sales prospects. So it's all about building meaningful relationships with people who maybe aren't ready to buy right now, but when they are, they think of you first. So about 97% of people sitting on LinkedIn are probably not right now going, oh, I think I want to buy what you have. But when they do think about it, or they're ready to, you need to be the person that's top of mind, and LinkedIn can help you to be able to do that. So it's all about attraction, bringing people towards you. Currently, I generate on average 5 inbound leads per day. It's a bit higher at the moment because of lockdown, but probably more like 10 at the minute. But I don't spend any money on marketing. All I do is this: I speak and I do LinkedIn. That's it. I don't use any of the other platforms. I don't spend money on ads. And I have a multi-6-figure business, and I spend zippity-doo-dah on marketing. So when you get this right, you can build a business with an abundance of inbound leads. So let's talk about measuring success. So for those of you that answered the first question, no, which was, do you know what your LinkedIn social selling index is? I'm about to show you what it is. So if you said no to question 1, you were like, what on earth is an SSI score? I'm going to tell you what that is. So each of you has a score out of 100 points on LinkedIn, and you probably don't even know it. So I know some of you have seen me speak before, so you already know your SSI score. So 2 things. If you already know what your SSI score is and you saw me speak and it's gone up, please share how your SSI score has shifted in the chat box for me so other people can see. I'm going to give you a link to go check yours out. So if you currently don't know what your score is, I want you to go check your score out, and I want you to share it in the chat box with people. And then after you've done that, I'm going to explain what it actually means. So this is the link to find out your SSI score. So it's linkedin.com/sales/SSI. So linkedin.com/sales/SSI. So go check out your score. So if you've never done this before, pop your score into the chat box for me. If you do know your score and it's gone up or it's shifted at all through doing some of the things I share, please share your starting SSI and what it is now. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat box. Wow, we got a real mix in there, from 64 to 70, 68 to 78. Go Louise. Wow. Well done, Amy. 79, 68, 72, 70, 46 to 56. Nice work, Dorothy. Cool. Okay, good. So obviously there's a real mix amongst all of you. So some of you will have lower scores than others, which is fine. It's much easier to move the needle if you've got a low score. So if you're in the 20s, 30s, 40s, it's actually much easier for you to move the needle because it's only a few tweaks and you'll see it go up. The great news is that you get instant gratification from your SSI score. It updates every 24 hours. So you can make a few changes in a few days and you could go check on it again and you'll see that you've made some improvement. So it's not the be all and end all, but it's a really, really good indicator as to how well you are doing at this thing called social selling. So the orange score is all about establishing your professional brand. So that's to do with your profile and how effectively completed your profile is. And the second part of that score is all to do with the content that you're creating and how consistent you're being with your content. So is your content quality, relevant and consistent? And is your profile doing its job and is it really effectively completed? So your orange score can be moved by changing up your content and changing up your profile. The purple score is called Find the Right People. So this is all to do with prospecting and proactively adding people into your network who are in your target market. The red score is to do with engagement. So that's liking, commenting, sharing, etc. Plus how much you're using LinkedIn to gain insights about people and companies. And the final thing is build relationships. Most people have the highest score in the green area, which is all to do with how you're managing your relationships, how you talk to people, discussions, both in the news feed, but also in your inbox as well. So if you're doing the first three things very well, then your green score will be pretty high. You have an average industry score. So if you scroll down your pages, you'll see that there's an average score for your industry. The good news is most people in your industry are terrible at LinkedIn, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in. I know that all the industry averages are like 20 to 30. So you hopefully are feeling slightly better about your own score once you see the industry average. The goal is to be in the top 1% of your industry. That's really where you want to be. To start getting like proper full-on strong lead generation happening on LinkedIn, you're talking about kind of high 70s, but ideally the 80s. So kind of 78 upwards is where the magic really starts to happen. Even if you are there already, there may be some things you're not doing with your content or you're not doing with your network. You just don't have the right types of people in your network. So just because you've got a higher size score doesn't necessarily mean you're going to start getting leads. It's a combination of all those things I shared in the 8 social selling strategies. But this will give you a really good guide as to where you are. So combine this with the score that you got on your the score that you got at the start. So if you scored like 5 or 6 out of 10, chances are your SSI score is probably 50, 60. If you scored higher, like 7 out of 10, you'll probably find your SSI scores up there. If you scored 0, 1, 2, you'll probably find your SSI scores a bit further down. So there are a direct correlation between those few things. Just 1 second. Maya, would you mind grabbing Mummy a glass of water, please? I forgot to get one. Thank you. Sorry. Right. So let's talk about your LinkedIn profile. This is the second thing I'm going to share with you. So this is the second part of the 5 things you need to do. Your LinkedIn profile is your shop window to the world. It is networking for you 24/7 when you're asleep, when you're on holiday, when you're in meetings, when you're doing things like this. Your LinkedIn profile is networking for you all the time. Think about your profile as being almost like your brand ambassador. It's out there doing its job. Thank you. It's fine. Thank you, Maya. So there are 15 different elements, and I'm going to put them on screen for you. And again, it's another slide you probably want to take a screenshot of. I'm not going to go through every single aspect. We don't have the time, but I will go through a couple of the most important parts. So have a look at these. Things like your professional headline, your about section, keywords, they're really, really important to getting your profile right. Recommendations. So I'm going to talk about them in just a second. I'll give you 5 seconds to take a screenshot or take a picture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She says, there we go. So before we think about your profile, you really need to get clear on your target market. And I don't mean that you're selling to everyone and anyone that will buy from you. You really need to get crystal clear on exactly who you want within LinkedIn. So your profile needs to really speak to your target market. Your content needs to really speak to your target market, and your outreach messages when you're contacting people in your target market need to hit the mark. And you'll only be able to do LinkedIn really effectively if you properly understand who it is you want to get to. So when you do this exercise with me, I don't want you to think about like your small bread and butter, low value clients. I want you to really think about your ideal clients, like your dream clients, okay? So I created this framework called the Ideal Client Framework. It's an acronym. So the I stands for industry. So what industry sector do you want these people to be in? So if you're looking for people that have got some cash to invest, for example, you might want to go for GPs or dentists. You might want to go for senior partners in law firms or accountancy firms. You might actually want to look for investors. So think about the industry sector that they're in, first of all. Then think about the demographics. So how big are their businesses? How many years have they been established? How many staff do they have? What kind of revenue do they have? So think about the description of that particular company. The next piece is their job title. So think about what role or job title do they have, and you can then search for those job titles within LinkedIn. And then think about what kind of values do they have? What kind of ambitions do they have? And finally, where do you want them? So the L stands for location. So do you want them all over the UK? Do you want them internationally? Do you want them on your back doorstep within a 30-mile radius? I guess it doesn't matter now with Zoom. You can pretty much talk to anyone anywhere. But think about these things so that you've got a clear picture in your mind as to what your ideal client looks like. Now you've got that in your head, you can then work on your LinkedIn profile. So one of my questions at the start was, does your LinkedIn profile, like, would you become a customer of You Today, or would you invest in You Today? Would you work with You Today based on your current LinkedIn profile? And most people's answer to that question is actually, no, I wouldn't. So have a look at your profile with the lens of the ideal client. Few things to take note of. The banner across the back there, that needs to be credibility building, very visual, and it needs to make sure that people clearly understand what it is that you do. If you currently have a turquoise blue horrible triangle that LinkedIn has given you, you're missing a big opportunity to brand your LinkedIn profile. You've then obviously got your name, your photograph, and then you've got this thing called your professional headline, which is this bit here that sits underneath your name. So very keyword heavy. Make sure that your main keywords for what you want to get found are sitting in that headline. You then have your about section. So this is 2,600 characters. Used to be 2,000, but they've increased the numbers. This is where you've got an opportunity to really focus on talking to your target market. So the first 3 lines are important because they are the only 3 lines that get seen until someone clicks on see more. So make sure your first 3 lines are really killer and credibility building. I mentioned things like my 235 LinkedIn recommendations, the 92 million plus that we're tracking on client results, the mission for £1 billion, most sought after consultant in Europe. So all of that is in the first 3 lines for a reason, because if I'm prospecting a sales director or a chief marketing officer in a very big organization, I want them to go, I need to open this profile and look at more information. You've then got, is there a bit of background noise? I can hear some rustling around. The next piece is making it very customer centric, easy to read, packed full of credibility. Use some pain in there as well. So I know what the pain points are of my customers, and I reference them in my profile. So this one here, look, business owners come to me frustrated by a weak or empty sales pipeline. They're struggling to find new leads. Some of them are just too busy to prospect consistently, and many worry about coming across as too salesy in their LinkedIn outreach. Sound familiar? So that's my kind of pain points of the people that come to me for the outsourced service. You also need to make sure that your keywords are in there. So I want to get found for the word LinkedIn expert and LinkedIn expert UK. I currently rank number 2 in the world on that search on the left, and I rank number 1 for LinkedIn expert UK. Because I've optimized my profile, there are 6-7 places on your profile where you can put keywords. Most people teach 3. But I teach 6 or 7, where there are lots of places where you can pack in your keywords and actually get found on Google searches just by having a really strong LinkedIn profile. Last thing on your profile is having some call to action. So I have a link to book a discovery call with me in my LinkedIn profile. So if someone said, and it says not everyone qualifies to work with us, to apply, go here. And I have 10 questions that people have to go through before they can get in my diary. Normally it's a couple of weeks out before someone can book an appointment, but I have that on my profile, and I get somewhere between 3 and 5 appointments a week just by having the ability to book a call with me on my LinkedIn profile. You can have things like learn more or sign up, but definitely make sure it's easy to contact you. The last thing on your profile, 2 more things actually. One of them is your featured section. This sits below your profile and the about section. Lots of people are not using this effectively. If you have landing pages, sales pages, books, podcasts, YouTube videos, customer testimonials, articles you've written, anything at all that is marketing your business and can help you to back up the things that you've said in words, are the things that you want to add to your featured section. So you can put media links, you can put documents, you can put PDFs, images, anything at all that you can think of. Here are some ideas on the screen as to what you could put in your featured section. I have a link to my online digital course, which has got 20 pre-recorded modules. That's my landing page for someone to go sign up and become a member of my academy. It's on my featured section. So if you have something similar where you're sending people to a landing page, or you're capturing email addresses, or you've got some kind of webinar funnel or anything at all where you're sending people off to go do something else to get into your sales process, you need to put it on your LinkedIn profile. There's some ideas there. Again, take a picture and make sure you're leveraging your featured section really effectively. I like putting kind of articles I've written in there. So I've just written an article last week and it's gone mad. Like, people have loved it. It's been shared, I think, 50+ times. So I've put that in my featured section to feature that article so that it helps people coming to my profile. And credibility wise, remember we talked about visibility plus credibility. Recommendations on LinkedIn are like the kind of the Google reviews or the Facebook reviews, 5-star reviews, whatever you want to call them. But on LinkedIn, recommendations are really key. So if you want to get more clients and you have no recommendations on LinkedIn, it's almost like looking at an Amazon product and going, well, I don't know whether I'd buy that because there's no reviews. So I would make sure that you've got at least 10 on there. You probably all know at least 10 people that would recommend you for what you do. If you do run some kind of community, like obviously this is an amazing community. So if you guys love being in the property assistance community, you haven't recommended the leaders of this group, like you absolutely need to go do that. And I always say to people, go to LinkedIn to give recommendations, not to get them. So if you start giving other people recommendations, A, it's really good for relationship building, but B, when you give, you get back in return. So go and give some recommendations to people. I currently have 237 recommendations, but it's real social proof that you're good at what you do. So try to become the most recommended version of you on LinkedIn. So that when someone says, well, why should I come to you? You can go, well, you can go check out my 100+ recommendations. I'm the most recommended person on LinkedIn that does what I do. So it's a really good USP for you to have for your business if suddenly somebody can go read all of the recommendations that you've created for your business. So next bit is all about building your network. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that will help you to build your network with the right target market. I currently have 19,300 something, 350, I think it is as of this morning, first degree connections on LinkedIn. What does that mean? It means I've got a bit of influence on LinkedIn, obviously, but I am a LinkedIn expert, so you'd expect that. But the point is here that most people don't realize the power of the extended network that you're building. So if you've just added me for the first time today on LinkedIn and we weren't connected before this morning, you have just added Sam Rathling, plus you now have my 19,500-ish connections in your second degree network. So you've just pulled all of my network one step closer towards you. Now, when you post on LinkedIn, a lot of people think it's only your connections that see that, but actually, if somebody likes or comments on that post, it's their network that see that you've done that. So if I went to Amy's profile, for example, and Amy did a post, I like and comment on that post, it's my network that get notified that I've just liked and commented something on Amy's profile. So her brand is now going into my network and vice versa. So it's quite often people that aren't even in your first degree network that are seeing your content. And actually, my biggest client came from somebody in my first degree network, liking, commenting consistently. And my corporate client had been asked the question, do you know anyone that's good at LinkedIn? He was like, well, my friend Matthew, he's on LinkedIn all the time. And I keep seeing this girl, Sam Rathling, pop up in my newsfeed. She seems to be the go-to person for LinkedIn. So they inbound messaged me saying, I've heard that you're the right person to talk to about LinkedIn. And I saw you through, and it was through one of my first degree connections. So your ideal client might not even come from your first degree network. And when you add people, you're not just adding one person, you're adding them plus their extended network too. So quite often one of the questions I get is, should I accept people I don't know? And I always say to people, remember, it's not just that one person that you're adding them plus the connections that they're bringing too, because you can search through their connections to find the right people. So they may not be the perfect prospect for you, but what if someone in their network is? You're only one handshake away, you're only one step away now from that particular prospect, and you can use LinkedIn to find those people. So I call it the circle of influence. You're in the middle of your own circle of influence. Everyone's networks are different. You will have some mutual connections. So that's what happens in your second degree network. You share some of the same connections. I had somebody connect with me yesterday and he's like, we have 400 mutual connections. I couldn't believe how many connections we had in common. And I couldn't believe we weren't connected to each other with that many mutual connections. So second degree, so first degree is the people you already connected with. Second degree is the people that they know and you have some common ground with them. So second degree is a good place to go looking for potential prospects. You can find them on LinkedIn using something called Boolean search. I've not got a lot of time. I spend an entire day on Boolean search and prospecting when I do my masterclass. So to try and do it in like 5 minutes is really difficult, but I'll try and give it a shot. So most people search on LinkedIn on a very basic way. So they'll go to the search bar on LinkedIn and they will type in whatever job title or keyword it is that they're looking for, and all these thousands of results will come up. Well, on the free version of LinkedIn, you're very limited to how many searches you can do per month, because LinkedIn blocks a certain number of connections, a certain number of searches when you start getting a bit more active. So Boolean will allow you to search for multiple things in one go and reduce the chance of you hitting that commercial search limit. Plus, it will give you much more targeted results. So I'm going to give you a very basic example. You can use a combination of these words to create a Boolean search. After this event, if you go check out my profile, there is an article specifically written about Boolean search. So if you want to go geek out on Boolean, go check out that article. But let's say I wanted to get to my target market. And in this instance, I'm going to use the example of I want business owners. So they could be called MD, managing director, CEO, founder. Like there's so many different words that people use as their job title, especially when they run their own business. They might use business owner, they might use entrepreneur. There could be all sorts of different words. So this is an example where you might string together a Boolean sentence together, and you need to put all of the keywords in speech marks. Everyone do this for me, so I know you're still awake. Do speech marks for me, and that's how you remember. So the word managing director in speech marks, if I just typed in the word managing director without the speech marks, LinkedIn would show me every profile with the word managing and every profile with the word director. However, when we put speech marks around it, it's just searching for the exact phrase managing director. So it's going to give us better results. So I'll show you an example on this quick video. So I'm going to play the video. Top left-hand corner, watch the search bar. So this is the exact same one we were just doing, managing director in speech marks, or needs to be in capitals. Chief executive officer, that's another one where you need to put it in speech marks. Or they might be called a CEO, for example. And I think an MD, they could call themselves an MD instead of a managing director. So when you first do a search on LinkedIn, millions of results, right? This is a global search. Now we're using the filters at the top of the screen to go second degree connections only, where you've got some common ground. Location, I think on this example, I'm choosing London. So at the minute in my second degree network, 327,000. Now I'm going to go London. So let's see how many there are in London in my second degree network. There's something like 21,000. And now I'm going to go industry specific. So let's say I just wanted people in marketing or financial services. Now I've gone from 11.4 million results to 2,500 results. And if you look, they are all in exactly the right job title, etc. So I've got chief executive officers, global chief executive officer. So this is a way to find much more targeted results in your searches. It will save you a whole heap of time using Boolean search. That's a very simple example. There are lots of more advanced versions, but hopefully that will show you how you can use LinkedIn on the free version to filter it down. A lot of the questions coming through about, is premium worth it? What about Sales Navigator? I love Sales Navigator. It's incredible, but unless you know how to use the free version, you're fully trained on the free version, I wouldn't even be looking at going up to Sales Nav. But Sales Navigator will give you a lot more targeted results. You can save your Boolean searches, you can save lists, and you can look at things like headcount, numbers of companies, and there's a lot more filters involved. So yes, it's worth it, but don't even bother on Sales Navigator unless you really properly understand how to use LinkedIn on the free version. So let's go to the next thing. Okay, couple more things. I think I'm running perfectly to time, so this is all good. First thing is to post daily. Maya, shush. I'm presenting. It's okay. Shh. I know. Shush. Sorry. Post daily. So this is all about content. You've probably all heard that content is king, which it is. I agree that content is king. It's very important to put content out there, but I don't believe you should be putting content out there for the sake of just putting out content. I have a slightly different view on the world in that connection is queen. So content might be king, but connection is queen. And what I mean by that is that you need to make sure your content really connects with your target audience. So if you think about that ideal client that we were discussing earlier, you need to make sure that you've got that ideal client in mind when you put out your content, because it needs to engage them. It needs to make them think. It needs to be insightful for them. It needs to help them. So content is really important, but connection's even more important. There are 14 different content themes that I teach. Again, I don't have a lot of time to go through them, so grab your camera so you can take a picture of this slide. Here are the first 7. Educational, most of you can teach and share your expertise and give tips and advice as to what you do. So that's a really good way to position yourself. Gratitude is all about thanking somebody else and leveraging somebody else in your network. Documentary can be great for inbound lead generation. It's one of my favorite types of posts for inbound, which is where you're pulling back the curtains on your business, on your story, on your journey, and you're showcasing to people what it is that you're up to. I've got a few examples coming up to give you. Controversial can be like a polarizing post where you're dividing opinion on something. So it drives a lot of debate. You've seen, I'm sure you probably recently in recent events, you've probably seen a lot of posts that are quite controversial or polarizing of opinion. So there's quite a few of them around at the moment. Asking a question can be a really, really good way to drive engagement on a post. In fact, that one should be combined with all the other themes. So you could do a really educational post and then pop a question in there to drive responses underneath that particular post. So that would be a really good way to drive engagement. Social proof, like that's an easy one. You can get a lot of leads just by putting out social proof as to what you've done. So I had a client in my very early days, before I was charging what I charge now. And it was a company in Nottingham, and they asked me to come in for a day to train their team on LinkedIn. 3 months later, I got a text from the owner of the company saying, Sam, thank you so much for your training 3 months ago. We've just closed a client contract worth £830,000. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. So I grabbed the text, I took a screenshot of it, and I posted it on LinkedIn to say, really delighted for my client, only in there 3 months ago, and they've just managed to close. And I didn't say who the client was, by the way. I took his name out of the text. But you know, that's social proof, because that will drive leads to your business. So whatever successes and wins you're having for your customers, showcase it, social proof. If you're getting reviews from them, if you're getting reviews on other sites, nice emails, nice texts, gifts from clients. I regularly get flowers, champagne, gifts, all sorts of stuff come through. In fact, I'm presenting on a gift that I got given. So if you're receiving gifts from happy customers, then that's a post. Inspirational, motivational, news updates, fairly self-explanatory. Wins and successes for you, wins and successes for your clients, anything that you've learned. So I don't know, you could go on LinkedIn straight after this and go, just finished a webinar this morning, it's Saturday. What have you been up to this morning? Here's the top 3 things I learned about LinkedIn lead generation. Tag me in the post. My 19,000 connections and my network are notified. So am I. I engage on the post, and then suddenly your brand is much more visible than it would have been. You could have maybe read a book. So where's my, oh, my books are on the floor. I won't reach down there. So I'm reading a book at the moment called Why We Sleep. Fascinating book, really, really awesome. So I will connect with the author of that particular book. I will, once I finish the book, I'll do a post about sleep, and it will be a lot of insights that I've gained from that particular book, and there's a lot of scientific experiments in there. So it's quite a fascinating topic. It's nothing to do with LinkedIn, but it is a what I've learned post, okay? Personal story, anything to do with your personal journey. And then if you do have a bigger organization, something about your culture or anything you're doing in CSR, so community work, voluntary work, anything at all. There are then 8 different types of LinkedIn posts. So if you take the 14 themes and 8 types of posts, that's 112 combinations of content that you could put out there. So don't tell me that you can never find anything to post about, because with those themes combined with these posts, 112 different versions of posts on LinkedIn. Most of you probably already know about text, photos, videos. Some of the content that people are not using as much are document posts, so they can be quite effective. So a document post can be a really good way. LinkedIn loves them. They're very engaging. So make sure that you're understanding what a document post is. If you're not sure what one is, it's basically where you upload a PDF or a PowerPoint slide deck. My recommendation is kind of 12 to 20 slides or 12 to 20 pages, and LinkedIn makes it look like a turning book. So every time someone presses to get through all the pages, the LinkedIn algorithm is going crazy and is counting that as lots of engagement on that post. So you'll see a lot of views on a document post, and especially if you did something quite educational, quite engaging, a document post is a good one. Kudos is where you're patting someone on the back. So it's a good one if you've got a team and you want to recognize someone for something they've done. Articles are amazing. They're more like an evergreen post. So an article would be something that's really useful for credibility building. So if you go to my profile, look at my featured section, there's an article there called 10 Amazing Ideas for Content on LinkedIn. So if you want more detail on some of the things I just shared, go check out that article, but that article will be there for years and years to come. LinkedIn posts, on the other hand, stick around for 1.5 to 2 weeks, a lot longer than the other platforms, but the organic reach that you can get from LinkedIn posts is ridiculous. And I'm talking about organic meaning free. So you do not have to pay money to LinkedIn to get thousands of views on a post. It's not like Facebook where you have to pay to play. LinkedIn is by far the #1 platform for organic reach. You can get posts post trending through hashtags, no more than 3 hashtags on LinkedIn. But you can start using hashtags on LinkedIn, and your content can start trending on the platform and start being seen far and wide without you having to do any work or pay LinkedIn for the privilege. LinkedIn Live exists. It's in beta test mode at the moment. It's with a few influencers. It's being rolled out, but quite slowly. It's an application process only. You do have to have quite a lot of followers, and you do need to be using Live on lots of other platforms before they'll let you loose on LinkedIn. And the new one just released in May is polls. So if you're not using LinkedIn polls, then you're missing a trick. A couple of quick stories. This is Andy, £10,000 inbound lead from a piece of content where he just asked his kids to draw a picture of happy bunnies and unhappy bunnies. He's a culture expert. 2 hours after posting, inbound lead, boom, £10,000 project. This is Tracy Miller, 3 inbound leads from doing a documentary post about her mastermind groups and her BBB success groups. All of these people, by the way, follow them because they're putting out great content. They've been trained by me. So if you want to get ideas, like follow other people who are doing good content. So connect with Tracy, tell her I said hi. She always gets lots of inbound messages from me, from people on these webinars. She's like, did you do another webinar, Sam? So Andy Gallimore, Tracy Miller. And the final one I want to talk to you about is Matt Fletcher. Now, Matt has, not the most interesting, I think it's interesting, but you might not think so. He fixes broken parts of machinery in factories. So let's say there's a bread company that are producing lots of bread and something breaks in one of their machines, they go to Matt to get it fixed. So he fixes motors and things like that. Matt already had an SSI score of 80 when he came to me. He'd read my book. He was doing pretty well on LinkedIn, and he was like, I just need my content to go to the next level. This particular post he did, it was a bit of a polarizing one. 127,000 views on this particular picture. It has since gone up to 129,000 views. His profile views have gone up over 8,000 in the last 90 days. And he's taken on 18 new customers. That was the month of May. So he emailed me to say, Sam, I've had 18 new clients, all from LinkedIn. And what he was surprised about is that since the pandemic hit, he's worked on posting something every weekday. He said, some haven't even been that good, but I just wanted to get something out every day because that's what I teach. He said that the first peak in his profile views was obviously down to the big post he did, but the current peak is down to his consistency of posting every day. So my message here to you with LinkedIn is that long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. And that's a Bruce Lee quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. Top tips. I'm not going to go through every single one of them line by line. Couple of little things. The longer the post, the better. LinkedIn likes long form copy because it's looking at how long people are staying on the post. If someone's going to hit that see more button, then that is in good engagement for the algorithm. Ideally, don't put any links into the post itself. Use the comments to do that. Caption your videos if you're using video posts. Always add value, share your expertise. When people comment underneath your post, always comment back. And how about using questions under there too to drive engagement? And use a combination of all the different themes I've given you. Engagement's key because it drives conversations. You will start conversations with people under a post or a discussion. It will go into an inbox conversation and it will lead on to a relationship starting and potential business in the future. So don't ever just sit back and watch the newsfeed. Always try and like and comment on different people's posts, and always use a minimum of 7 words when you're commenting on somebody's post. So don't just go on and go, great article, great post. Like think of something insightful you could say about what you learned about their post, or maybe even ask them a question, or maybe tag a few people in to the comments that you know would benefit from that particular piece of content. Final tip is all about how you can use LinkedIn's inbox to be a bit different. So I call this prospecting in Technicolor. Did you know that you could use video in your messages in LinkedIn? So in your mobile phone, in your message box, you can actually send videos to people and personalize those videos. So rather than, what you don't want to do is use a bland, like, one for everyone. Somebody read my book, his name's James. He started sending a video message to every new connection and he's generating, I think on average, 1 lead a day at the moment. He puts property into pensions for people. 1 lead a day. I think in the month of April, he had something like 100 leads, and he was just like, he's like, I can't believe how this is working. But he's sending a personal video message to every new connection. You can also use voice notes. So you can actually send a voice note. So if you want to test it out, once we're connected, you can only do this once you're connected. You can actually voice message the other person. So have a go if you want. Send me a message. If you enjoyed the presentation, drop me a voice note and I'll drop you one back. And it's a really nice way to just get that human connection, because right now I think people are just craving human to human connection, and we're missing like being around people. I know I am. I did a post the other day about like my relationship with the green dot. That's you right in front of me, because I'm just missing like being able to do this in a real live stage environment. But I think you just need to remember that people don't want to just read boring text. People think LinkedIn's a bit boring and stuff. It's not. You just need to know how to use the tools to make it a lot more fun, and video and voice can be a great way to do that. Right, so there's the summary slide. Stop selling, start social selling. Build an effective profile that really speaks to your target market. Create that network and build your circle of influence with prospects who are in your target market. Post consistently and ideally on a day-to-day basis, minimum 3 a week, but ideally if you can get out 5, amazing. And that build that human to human connection. I think quite a few of you before you came on here, judging by the scores at the very beginning of the session, were probably a little bit like this, head in the sand, don't really know what I'm doing with LinkedIn. And hopefully now you're feeling a little bit more like this, where you feel like you can actually do something with this platform, that I've inspired you to do more with LinkedIn. That's it from me. Remember, if you're not LinkedIn, you're linked out, and we shall now go to questions and answers. Back to you, Amy.
Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. There's been lots of chat saying how inspiring and incredibly comprehensive this has been. So well done you. It's really, really good.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep a track of all the questions that I've got for you. I don't know how much time you've got left, Sam, to do that.
I can do about 15 minutes for Q&A. So if people need to jump off, I know it's Saturday, obviously. So kudos to all of you for your commitment of being on here on a Saturday. But I've got about 15 minutes. So.
Perfect. So what I'll do is I'll rattle through all of the questions that we've had today. And also I know that we had some that we sent to you beforehand,
Yes.
if we can go through those as well. So
yeah.
Quick fire round. Let's see how quickly we can get through these. So today, the first question we've had is it better to post from a page or personal account and share the post?
Great. So you're going to get much more traction from your personal profile and posting from your personal page than you will ever get from a company page. So a company page is important, like you do need to have one, but people buy from people. You can't prospect from a company page. You can't add people into your target market. You don't know who's following. You can't really gauge that too much. So definitely post from your personal profile more than your business page. If you share something from your business page, shares LinkedIn doesn't really give a lot of focus on. LinkedIn's looking for you to be an original content creator. So even if it's from your business page, you won't expect to get a lot of views on a share. So much better to post from your personal profile, and then I'd say probably once a week post on your business page, but pay attention to your personal profile.
Fantastic. Now I'm going to amalgamate a few questions because they're very similar. How can you use LinkedIn effectively to drive leads if you have different roles? Some people are working in property, but it's not their full-time job.
Yeah, it's a good question. I get it a lot. So if you are wearing a few hats and property is your side hustle, or vice versa, the other way around, I would use your work experience section of your LinkedIn profile, which we didn't talk about today, but it sits underneath your about section. So make the about section 80% of the main thing you want to use LinkedIn for, and probably 20% of your other thing. And then I would have an entire work experience section dedicated to your property business. And I would have an entire work experience section dedicated to the other role that you have, or the other businesses that you have, or the other job that you have, etc. If you are under the radar, i.e. you're not really allowed to be doing something outside of your main job, but you are trying to build something so you can get out of your main job, then the way to do that is through the inbox messages. So connecting with people, starting conversations with people, because you can do all that under the radar without anybody being aware of it. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Oh, my
answer.
13-and-a-half-year-old just rose from his bed. Look at that.
Ooh,
Hi, Oscar. Carry on, Amy. Next question.
That's great. Is there a maximum number of connections that LinkedIn will allow you to have?
You can have 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. So it's quite a high amount. It'll take you a while to get there. Mine's growing at about 1,000 a month at the moment, which is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, something like that. So you can have 30,000 connections. Once you hit 30,000 connections, people can only follow you. They can't then connect with you. So a connection you can message, obviously, but someone who's following you will just see your content.
Okay. And should you be going for quality over quantity?
Yes, I believe that you should. If you're taking, there's two ways you grow your network. Obviously, one is people coming to you, so people finding you, seeing your content, etc., and then you can choose to accept them. So that's one way to grow. And as you get more visible, you've probably noticed this, Amy, the more visibility you get and the more active you are on LinkedIn, the more of those inbound requests come. Have you seen that pick up?
Absolutely, yeah. And
Yeah,
I have been accepting everybody at the moment.
Yeah. And if they're coming inbound, it's mostly because they've seen you doing posts or they've seen you on the newsfeed. But the quality aspect is in the outbound outreach that you're doing to people in your target market. So I would only be prospecting people and adding people proactively who are actually quality ideal clients. And that's where you want to spend the time with the quality side of things. It's not just about having, 20,000 people in your network for the sake of it. Like the majority of the people that I'm adding personally, where they're not coming to me, I'm going to them, are, senior decision makers, C-suite executives in, 5,000 plus employee type companies, because corporates is where I spend most of my ideal client activity time. Doesn't mean to say I don't help SMEs, and I get lots of requests coming through for smaller businesses, but they come through regardless. But where I'm spending my quality time is prospecting for my ideal customer. And that's where I focus on quality.
Brilliant. There's a question that's just come in saying that somebody connected with you, they pressed the connect button, but what people don't realize is that you need to go into the more bit and do the personalized message first, because once you press connect, you don't get the option always. So
that's right. Yeah. So there is a myth out there that you can't personalize connection request from a mobile. You can. I did the QR code thing, which took you to my profile. So you've got the connect button, and then next to the connect button on a mobile, you've got more ... And in the ... there's a personalized request. Oscar, can you do that in the lounge for me, sweetheart, please? Thank you. Just about to come and munch his cereal next to me. Love you. I'll be about 5 minutes, okay?
Brilliant.
Yes.
So a couple of questions regarding recommendations. If you are mutually recommendations, swapping them around, does that diminish the trustworthiness of them?
Not at all. So if you want to, I would recommend trying to get them from, when I say give them, I don't mean give one to get one back from the same person. I mean, just focus on, I give one a week, basically. So I just surprise somebody from my network, because it's a really nice thing to do. If you've ever had a recommendation out the blue, it's such a lovely thing to feel, because it's like, oh, that's a really nice thing for someone did to me. So if that's how you feel when you receive one, imagine the power you can have of building relationships with people when you're just giving them to others. So don't give one in respect of trying to get one back from the same person. Just focus on giving them on once a week or whatever. That's why I normally teach people, because you'll rekindle a relationship. Maybe you had a prospect or somebody that you were dealing with in the past, and the relationship's gone a bit cold, or you're thinking like, how do I get back in touch with them? It could be a really good way to just re-engage that conversation. So they're going to want to respond once you send them a lovely recommendation. So it's not going to diminish you by having you recommend someone, they recommend you back. But I wouldn't necessarily, I'd build it into your sales process that if you've got lots of happy clients out there, ask them to recommend you, but focus on giving them, and the universe will respond.
And what would you say is the best for profile raising, articles or posts?
So I think articles is a great question, whoever asked it.
It was from Louise.
Thank you, Louise. So articles should be considered as credibility building tool. And in an article, because you're giving tons of value, you can almost sell a little bit at the end of it. So if you've liked the tips I've shared here, this is about the author and how you can get in touch with me type thing. You would never do that on a post. But in an article, because you've given lots of value, you've almost got permission a little bit to give some call to action at the end of it. And an article sticks around forever and build your credibility. Marcus, who's my sales coach, Marcus Kauke, Cauchi. Follow him on LinkedIn. He's got over 400 articles about selling and sales and closing, and he's flipping amazing at LinkedIn content. His SSI score is even higher than mine. It's 91. So if you want to follow somebody that is doing both articles and content brilliantly, then he would be a good person to follow. Connect with him as well. Tell him I said hi. But the posts are more likely to get more views than an article would. So don't expect an article to get as much traction as a post would, unless it's brilliant. But a post is much more about driving visibility, views, etc. faster. An article is going to last you 2, 3, 4 years. So I still get business from an article I wrote 4 years ago called How I Generated 8 Leads in 1 Hour on LinkedIn. And it's still a relevant article to today. And I still get people sharing it, and I still get people coming to me off the back of that one article. So it's almost like a blog or an evergreen piece of content. A post will disappear and will be, it'll be visible for some time and then will go away.
Fantastic. And can you just say his name again, because some people didn't catch
Marcus, let me type it in the chat box. Marcus Cauchi.
Actually, I think
he's getting it in influx now. There you go.
Yeah.
So we do all of Marcus's LinkedIn lead generation. We pass business to each other. We actually met on LinkedIn. So we met through the giving process. So he went on a bit of a rant on LinkedIn about how Sales Navigator was annoying him and he couldn't get it to do something. And this is what happens when you position yourself as a go-to person. People will tag you in a post going, can you help this person? So somebody tagged me knowing that I was a LinkedIn expert saying, Sam Rathling, can you help Marcus? Didn't know who he was. We didn't know each other, but he was in my 3rd degree network. And I got tagged in the post. I messaged him directly. We jumped on a Zoom call for about 10 minutes. I fixed his problem because that's what I do. You go to give, not to get. I didn't go there to get. I went to help him. And he was like, well, how can I help you, Sam? I said, well, I recognize you're a sales trainer. I don't do the sales part of the process. I do the lead gen part. We should probably chat about how we can help each other. Marcus is for the last 2 years now has been my sales coach. And now that's why I'm closing multi-6-figure contracts in corporates, because he's helped me to raise my selling game. He does do, you can crash classes with him and stuff. So message him on LinkedIn if you want some help with sales, but he's amazing. So, and I met him through LinkedIn.
Fantastic. There's a couple of questions regarding trending. How do you get to trend? Is it important to trend? What does it actually mean?
Good. So first off, you need to get trending. You have to put hashtags into your posts. So I'll put it in the chat box if you're posting about today's session. So if you don't have your own hashtag, I use hashtag #OrSam. Create a hashtag for yourself so that you get some commonality around your theme. So it might be, it could be around your name, or it could be around what you do. So I had a couple of guys attend from a procurement company. He's now calling himself the procurement guy, and that's his hashtag. So you can start using your own hashtag, but I would recommend using hashtags that are not really quite niche. So for example, if Marcus were to use hashtag sales, well, there are 5.5 million people that follow hashtag sales. So A, it's going to be really hard to trend in that particular hashtag, and B, all 5.5 million people are not going to see a piece of content if it does trend. So you're much better off going for like smaller niches. So the way to do that is to use the search in LinkedIn and just type in a few hashtags that you think might be relevant to your business. Go into the search bar and then go follow the hashtags that are relevant to your industry or relevant to your company. You don't have to follow, Louise, the hashtag in order to see it. LinkedIn will notify you. LinkedIn will notify, sorry, my 13-year-old is just hovering around behind my laptop. I'm not going to introduce you. You'll find it where he's still in his dressing gown. He's got like, I did a Facebook post today. He looks like Prince. He's got like hair up here at the minute. So you don't have to follow the hashtag to see it trending. LinkedIn will show you in the notification bell if you've got a post that's trending. So I did a post the other day about this inspiration wall that's behind me, right? So I took a picture of it and I did a post about how I created it, why I created it. And I put hashtag work from home, okay? And I don't follow hashtag work from home. But I did a post, and the post I think has had over 10,000 views at the moment, and I started trending in hashtag work from home. And you should see the notifications, Louise, in the bell. The thing is, you'll get a lot of notifications on LinkedIn and you might miss it. But that's where it does happen. It will appear in your notifications bell. So it is important to trend, because I mean, I use hashtag social selling, for example. When I first started using it, only 2,000 people followed hashtag social selling. Today, like 6 months on, there are 30,000 people following hashtag social selling. So a hashtag might not have too many followers on it initially, but over time it's going to grow and grow. So if I start trending in hashtag social selling, it means that people outside of my network, so possibly people in my 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th degree network, could see that content. I got an invitation to speak on a podcast in Australia because somebody saw my post trending in hashtag social selling, and he was like a 4th degree connection. And I got the invitation to get my brand into Australia off the back of me trending in social selling. So I believe it is important to trend. A post needs to have a fairly significant amount of likes, comments, reactions, etc. But if it's in quite a small niche, it doesn't really need to have that many views in order for it to start trending.
And is there such a thing as posting too much?
I believe there is such a thing as posting too much. I think Gary Vee says post like 20 times a day on LinkedIn. I don't agree with that. I think it's better I think the quality over quantity thing applies here as well. So a quality LinkedIn post that's really good, very engaging, has got lots of comments, reactions, can last for a really long time. So it looks like I'm on LinkedIn like every second of every day, but I'm really not. But because my content is consistently being liked and commented, every time you get a new like or a new comment, that content is going like back into the newsfeed again. So it used to be, in answer to your question, Lorraine, that time of day used to be important. The first hour used to be important. There used to be lots of things that you could do to trick the algorithm. But obviously LinkedIn has caught up on all of that. People were using these LinkedIn pods, and they were using like, let's create a WhatsApp group and like everybody engage. And like LinkedIn doesn't really like that very much, because if you start seeing the same people all the time, the algorithm will pick it up. So I recommend personally, I mean, it's just my opinion and I do a lot of testing, one a day or one every other day is a good amount to be doing. If you're currently posting nothing, to go from nothing to one a day is a big leap, right? So if you are like, I'm not doing any content right now, start with 1 post a week and then increase it to 2 a week and then increase it to 3 a week. Because you will be sitting there looking at the screen going, oh my goodness, what am I going to post today? Or you'll be fearful, or you'll be like thinking, oh, I don't know enough to post about this, or you'll have the imposter syndrome, or you'll be worried about what people might think about it. Don't let any of that stuff that's in your head like get in the way of you posting content. Just take action and do it. So I think there is such a thing as posting too much. You'll see it from people unfollowing you. So keep a track on both your connection numbers, but you'll also have followers. So I have more followers than I have connections. And if I ever see that drop off, I know that my content's missing the mark. Brilliant. Reposting. And so Sam, you said, what about reposting and shares rather than original content? You can do it, Sam, but don't expect to grow your brand. Don't expect to get leads. Don't expect LinkedIn to give you very much visibility. It's definitely looking for you to be an original content creator where you've created the post. If you're busy and you know that day you're just not going to get to it, a reshare can do, but it will get literally tumbleweed. It will help the other person that created the post, but unless it gets a lot of engagement on it quickly, there's not much point. Kim, LinkedIn Premium. No. So there are 4 levels of LinkedIn membership. The free version, which most of you are on. Then you have Premium, which gives you, I think, 15 in-mails a month. In-mails, honestly, don't use them. They just scream that you're selling something, and it gives you like who's viewed your profile. Honestly, I don't think Premium is worth the money that it is. However, I do think that the next one up from that, Sales Navigator, is flipping unbelievable. It's like the Formula One of LinkedIn, but there's no point in trying to work out Sales Navigator if you haven't figured out the basics of normal LinkedIn. So Sales Navigator is great, and the next one up is Recruiter, which is not going to be relevant here. So I don't believe Premium is worth it. It doesn't give you any advantages from a posting perspective or SSI score or anything. It's just making money for LinkedIn.
There's a question there about not posting in your links in your post, and some know the answer to that, but go for it.
Yeah, so links in the comments is a good thing to do, or if you're using a video, like mention that the link is in the comment. I know that there is some testing going on at the minute. I've seen one of my other fellow LinkedIn experts he's a bit geeky about LinkedIn. I love him for that. And I don't do all the geeky stuff and like stats and everything else, but he's testing at the moment for a month whether or not that the link in the post still impacts the algorithm. So I'll know in a month or so when he shares his results. But what LinkedIn doesn't like is it doesn't like you leaving LinkedIn or taking people away from LinkedIn. So let's say you posted a YouTube video, great. But if someone clicks on it, they disappear from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn makes its money from advertising and keeping you on LinkedIn for longer. So the minute that you send people off to an events page to register for something, you're better off using the events section of LinkedIn. So all of you should have access to it now. You can actually promote an event online through the event section of LinkedIn. So you can actually post and promote an event within LinkedIn. And there is a place for them to go and register, and you can put a link inside that, but it's much better to do that and create a post about the event that's using LinkedIn's event tool versus going, here's my event, go register, and then putting the link in there. But it is definitely because LinkedIn does not like you taking people away from the LinkedIn platform.
I think final question, because we've gone through so many. Anne's asking about posting in Italian and English. Is there a way that you can reach multiple audiences who speak different languages using LinkedIn?
So I would do a couple of different things. So I might do a video that is where you're speaking maybe in English but with Italian subtitles. That might be one way to do it. I mean, you can't really target content at specific people unless you're using ads. So if you definitely wanted to target the Italian market, for example, I'd probably look at using some kind of ads to do that. I'm not an expert on paid ads on LinkedIn, by the way. I do everything organically. But if it were me and I was trying to reach multiple languages, you can have your LinkedIn profile set up in 2 languages and available in 2 languages. So if you haven't already done that, you can, within the profile settings, you can actually say, here's my English profile, and you can create a multilingual version in other languages. So that if you haven't done that already, I would definitely do that. We prospect in about 11 countries for our clients who outsource to us. So in some countries, we prospect in the native language. So we prospect obviously in Italian in Italy. We prospect in Belgium in the English speaking parts. We do it in English. We prospect in, so we prospect in lots of different places. So content wise, I would probably go video in English and subtitles in Italian, or other way around. I would probably do the same with document posts. I would probably do a document post that is maybe all in English, and then the Italian part of it, the second part. So then there's things you can do, but in terms of actually targeting it at specific people, I think if you want to target the Italian market, then you'd need to build a network of connections that are in Italy, and then, focus your content that way. Hopefully that was helpful.
Amazing. Well, hopefully we've gone through as many questions as we can. I'm mindful of your time, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been incredible.
You are more than welcome. It's been a pleasure to be here. I may not get back to all of you like immediately. I'm doing my 3-day masterclass next week, so like the week is completely stacked. But I hope to get back to you all within the 2-week frame, if that's okay. So just to set expectations.
And Sam, just give
us
a brief, everyone. Before you go, Sam, just give us a brief overview of what people could do with you if they want more training.
Sure. So first thing is, obviously you can grab a copy of the book. So if you don't already have that, then it's on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Training wise, I do a 3-day masterclass. So if you wanted to book on last minute to next week, obviously 3 days with me. If you think you've learned something in 1 hour, like believe me, 3 days is going to blow your mind. I do a 3-day masterclass, one next week, one in September. Next week's one is on Zoom. The one in September, we hope, will be face-to-face in Derby. The other place to go is the LinkedIn or Linked Out Academy. So if you do want to learn all of this stuff, I've got 20 video modules, linkedin-or-linkedout.com. If you go there and pop your details in, you'll be able to see all the modules. It's 500 quid a month plus VAT for a minimum 3 months, and you get me coaching you as well through a group coaching session every month as well. So that would probably be the best place to start for most people, is the academy. So go check that out, or message me on LinkedIn if you want more information on that. But yeah, that would be the starting point for most of you, I think.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.